How are you all doing tonight?
Good.
So, this is our 14th event here at Poetry for Personal Power. And last year, it was our second ever event. And so what happened was, I'm now a member of what's called the New Economy. And it turns out that 25% of the people employed in the United States are employed as freelancers. So this is people like me that are out there making their own job. And I'm doing this with internet message promoting, by grant writing, by building my own business, by going out and contacting customers, by doing what's now called guerrilla marketing or permission-based marketing, where if my product is good, then you can read my blog, check out the YouTube channel, etc. And I'm not blasting people with commercials like the old traditional marketing tactics. So one of the key messages I want to give you tonight is if you want a job, you can make your own job. And the contrary to that is if you don't do it, you may not have a job. So I've got flyers back there for KC SourceLink, which is the #1 small business connection source in Kansas City. So check out their site and their brochure and their event. And so one way I've made my own job in the last 2 years since I've become self-employed is by connecting with lots of different people. So I was out at a library, Kansas City, Missouri Public Library event, and I met Dr. Brackett. And then I contacted her and said, well, would you be interested in helping me write this big-time federal grant to bring poetry into universities in Missouri and have featured poets? And we've got a person named Natasha who's going to be our feature at the end of this event. And so she co-sponsored the event the first year, and we got a grant to do a lot of these events. We had 542 students participate in our 10 events last year. We're doing 15 events this year. We had 86 people at Rockbridge High School in Columbia 2 months ago. We had some people, we've had 2 other events already last November at Penn Valley Community College and up in Maryville, Missouri. So we're going to have 2 more events in Kansas City. So if you like this event and you want to compete again, you can check out our UMKC event on March 16th and our Avila University event on March 20th. And check our website, Facebook, and Twitter for all those events. So the main message of our event is, what do you do to get through tough times? What helps you through adversity? And the reason we promote this event is we're funded by SAMHSA, the Federal Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, and this is a partnership with, of course, the Scribe. They're one of our partners, and the English and Modern Language Department here at this university. And I'm with Heartland Consumer Network. That's an organization of people who are in recovery from mental illness. And I'm a person who's recovered from 12 psychiatric diagnoses and 7 hospitalizations and 6 suicide attempts and 29 medications, up to 6 of them all at one time. And I've completely exited that system now. And I no longer take any medications. And I've come up with a theory to describe this process that many times we're given the message that if you're suffering emotionally, it's a disease. And what I've come up with to say is, well, if you're suffering emotionally, it's from distress. And the difference between the disease model and the distress model is that the distress model says that if you have mental health struggles or symptoms or challenges, it's because a lot of times really bad junk has happened in your life. And so that leads to a ready solution. You can either get rid of the bad junk or find ways to self-support yourself, like how do you get through adversity? Find those things. How do you get through tough times? So if you find those things, that's the way out of that difficulty. Whereas the disease model says, if you're suffering emotionally, it probably came out of the blue from a physical cause. And the solution to that is a different solution. Although finding how you get through adversity, that's also helpful for that model. So that's why We're talking about how to get through adversity because it's helpful no matter how you look at the source or solutions. So, as a person who has experienced pretty much everything the mental health system has to offer and has moved on and built a business that was a finalist for Google's Gigabit Business Challenge for $350,000 2 months ago. I was a semi-finalist for that business plan competition. I was a semi-finalist for $40,000 from the Foundation for Excellence in Mental Health Care. I was a finalist for $12,000 from the U.S. Olympic Committee. So that's my successes in the last year with my business and seeking that very initial partnership with Dr. Brackett. I'm going to start off with a poem. So you guys get a choice. You want a poem about how great Kansas City is, or you want a poem about what people tell me for riding a bicycle in the city?
Yes. Kansas City. Kansas City. Let's go to the city. Wait.
Okay, so one of them is about bicycling and one of them is about Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Can I make sure everyone has turned off their cell phones? I forgot to ask you that. Thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, cell phones. Okay. 816. It's the ice storms, the blistering hot, the 3-degree bicycling commute, but then sunshine in the other 119 days of the year. I've been living here 13 years, and I finally decided to stay because I like the weather. I like all 4 seasons of this journey to turn this town around, to grow back a vital downtown, to keep pushing to unite what's going right as our cowtown, find a place among the now found, and Turkey Creek got tunneled underground to build the busiest freight train hub in the nation, leaving a secret concrete canyon behind 19th and Charlotte, blooming beyond with street art. The 9 blue sheep proclaim, "Welcome to the real world. Believe only what you hear." And in this here and now, the people I'm around, the communities I've come to claim, I've found a home among the soybean cooking smells along Cliff Drive, 4 miles of tree tunnel, with 4 kids playing in the fountain at the end. And this is not a poem about bicycling. This is a poem about the West Bottoms Renaissance, the Midwest brick buildings with the painted signs barely visible, but now curtains out the 5th floor. Here, the stockyard's gone, the uniform suburbs spawn, but this city under the freeway lives on, pale, the size of quarters, plinking against the hulking shadow of the ASB bridge. Springtime momentum thundering as people build in places, mending errors of erasing races. First Friday seeing faces, one of the busiest art walks in the country. Free bands playing, Vesuvius fire tribe juggling in the dark, the roller derby ladies risking knees in the parking lot. Lincoln Academy, actually one of the best high schools in the country. The Midwest coffee shops that stood strong and sent Starbucks with its tail between its legs. Here, Case Park with its view of both rivers, those paddle boats deliver. Giant bluffs left behind by the last round of glaciers call this city flat. It's a disgrace slur, and in winter, the river grows, the islands of the ice flows, the icicles tame, the snow sheets, but then sun returns to highlight the salt mirage patterns left by the side of the road. Tenderness of the 40-degree day, crowds gathering at the off-leash dog park. This city starting to embark on the rebuilding, the reawakening, the new reality, claiming a place in the grace of the future people of our nation. My friends are a part of this location, and our sparks are the face of this transformation. Gotta turn it on here. Get it with my phone. How many of you all here ride a bicycle? So, I'm part of Bike Walk KC, and Kansas City was recognized as a bronze level bicycle pedestrian city last year. And for all the people who say, oh, this is an awful place to ride a bike, well, we're now one of about 400 of the top places in the United States to ride a bike. So this poem is for all the people who see me leaving on a bicycle and say, be careful. You be careful. You're the one driving a car. You might get from point A to point B and not even realize where you are. Bypass every adventure in between. Don't interact with a single human being. Live life sealed off in a tin can away from any random happenings, land, cars or coffins. We say, because real life happens to us every day. Be careful with your fuel. Get it from a dictator who knows how to rule, because oppression in oil-producing countries increases with the price of gas. Well, we could have been building a transportation system that could last. Instead, we're funding an empire of global resource grabs. No Iraqis died to fuel my bicycle. We say, because we can choose peace over power for at least one more day. Be careful with your body. Choose to be strong or choose to be floppy. Use it or lose it, because it was built to be moved just a bit more than those boring 30 minutes on a treadmill, or that doctor taking 10-minute appointments to pick out your head pills. I traded my commute in for friends and thrills. There's no bad weather. We say only bad gear, and you're bleeding out fear that keeps you from being out here. Be careful with your money, all of that income, just keeping cars running, all of that green, just to come between you and your surroundings. Like passing by all the local merchants to fill your car at the big box store. Live free or drive, we say, because we avoid some of those hidden costs every day. By riding my bike to work, I plan to very carefully change the world. I declare freedom from the petroleum-mongering machine. There's no war in Iraq. Fought for my gas. I live on a human scale, and I transport my own ass. So you guys got personal power yet? You guys know what gets you through adversity? I'm going to do one more poem, and then you guys are going to come up here and tell me what gives you strength. So I just told you bicycling gives me strength, poetry gives me strength, being in a community with my city gives me strength, networking gives me a job and strength, being an entrepreneur, those are things that give me power. So, I'm going to talk to you about, I should probably do a mental health poem since it's a mental health event, but I'm bored with my mental health poems. How about, I think I'm going to do a poem about the prairie. How many of you are from parts of the country that involve prairie, like Kansas, Nebraska, Dakotas, parts of Missouri? Well, the prairie, the tallgrass prairie, is the most endangered ecosystem in the world. It used to cover the entire Midwest. And the grasses were so tall that you would lose a horse. It was as tall as a horse, and the buffalo were so thick they would stop a train for an hour, and the passenger pigeons would darken the sky for an hour. But the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve is something really incredible. If you ever get a chance to go see it in Cottonwood Falls, Kansas, and Missouri has several state parks dedicated to prairie, and it's really kind of a neat place. But to walk around in those places and say, this is Tallgrass Prairie, is like going to a banana plantation and saying, wow, this is tropical rainforest. So this is my poem about what's left of the Tallgrass Prairie. So this was called They never told me Kansas was beautiful. People of the Southwest, wind in your ears and your hair, wind ahead or behind, but always there. The wind resonates in the power lines, booming out the echo of space filled with flower finds. The prairie rides to every reach of the sky and yet beyond. Its seven bird songs on the wind all along, or the butterfly wings that yesterday's thunderstorm brings after all that destruction it cleans. Let yourself breathe, come to be as the grass starts to steam or smell deep beneath the heat at your knees. Sky stretches what seems like forever. Like, remember, who came before? This continent home to more people than Europe before smallpox. This prairie, a tall grass, buffalo, venison, pigeon plantation, sculpted by fire. Crops controlled by people who knew the land owned them before anyone owned the land. And they told us, when the last buffalo is gone, the last bird from the sky, the last river is poisoned, then you will know you cannot eat money. And the bones of this earth poke through these hills, the last of the prairie, saved from being tilled. The skeleton of the world stretches out every evening. The grass is a skin and the sun is receding. Shadows sliding in the wind, cicadas chorusing again. Coyote's heart might still mend. Can you bring me the open mic list and read my topic? Do you want to go after the open mic, or do you want to go right now? Yeah.